Hold on for music. Music is coming. Yep. Alright, so just hold on a little bit. The stream is going to start in a little bit. And I'm saying this just in case. Just in case. Alright, oh, we're live on Twitch. Oh, we're live on Twitch. Oh, sorry, let's mute the Twitch stream. Alright. We're live on Twitch. I believe we're live on YouTube. I am not sure. Let's check to see if we are live on YouTube. So just give me a little bit. WARNANT till let's see, create stream. Alright, let's see. Go live. Not sure if that worked. Now for Mixer. Mixer has been a bit weird these past couple of days. So it's like, the thing says unable to connect, Mixer streaming review is required, and I go to the streaming review and I'm here. Okay, okay, so maybe we'll not be streaming to Mixer. Okay, that's fine. We're on Twitch though. We're on Twitch and possibly on YouTube. So regardless, since we're on Twitch, and that's what the plan was, let's stream on Twitch. Oh crap. Okay, so let's do this real quick. Hello and welcome to the FSX Stout channel. We are probably streaming on Twitch alone, but the plan was to stream on Twitch, YouTube, and Mixer, but we might just be streaming on YouTube right now. I'm your host, FSX Tout, that's how you pronounce it, FSX Tout, or you could just call me Tout. Hey, and we are streaming on YouTube too. No, we're not. Oh, that's an old thing. Why is the name still the same? Anyway, today in FSX, we are going to learn how to fly via the Learning Center. So what we're going to do is go to Learning Center, Key Topics, Sitemap, go to Lessons. Then we're going to do these lessons. So let's go straight on level flight. Well, I'm not going to read this because I've probably read this before. Yes, I did read it before. Let's just do the lesson. Alright, so let's go to my YouTube channel to ensure that we are streaming. Let's see. Alright. No, oh shucks, it says let's do some heli missions. The name of the stream is let's do some heli missions, even though we are not doing heli missions. Set the throttle to 3/4 full.
In this lesson, we're going to learn how to fly straight and level. Shall we proceed full speed ahead? Not so fast, rocket pants. I've got the airplane, so you just relax a bit. We're here in the Cessna 172 in the beautiful Puget Sound region.
Wait. Alright, you guys were not hearing that because the sound was coming through my speakers. Alright, so how do I change that again? Options, setting, sound. Speakers. Let's try that again.
In Washington. Imagine,
better.
If you will, that we've just taken off from Bremerton National Airport just west of Seattle. We're going to learn what it looks like to fly level, how to use the joystick to change our pitch, and lastly,
Alright, I'm gonna pause the stream for just a little bit. I have to open up Chase Plane, or else my cockpit view will not work. And I totally hate that Chase Plane does not launch automatically. I always have to manually open up Chase Plane, which sucks. Alright.
Introduce you to your new best
There we go.
friend, besides me, your instructor, of course, the trim wheel. Right now, I need you to check your keyboard and make sure the num-lock light is lit. When that light is on, we can use the keys on the numeric keypad to look around while we fly. Press and hold the 4 key for a moment. See how the horizon is level relative to the windowsill?
You want me to...
Release the 4 key and press the 6 key. Those are the Olympic mountains out there. Now, they're pretty, aren't they?
Okay, I don't know what exactly numbers...
Release the 6 key and look at the attitude indicator. The attitude indicator displays the
Oh, that's
airplane
nice.
bank or the angle the wings make with the horizon, and its pitch or the amount the nose points up or down. I'm going to keep the airplane flying straight, but I want you to change your pitch. That is, the airplane's pitch attitude. Now then, if you don't have a joystick, be sure to turn the num lock off again so that you can fly the airplane in just a second when I ask you to.
Fly without a joystick. Okay, so I have a joystick.
Attitude indicator's miniature airplane. This represents the airplane's nose.
This here.
It's a little above the white line that represents the horizon.
It
This
is?
means we're most likely in level flight, thus holding a constant altitude. We can tell our altitude is constant by looking at the altimeter, located just to the right of the attitude indicator. The altimeter's large hand, the 100-foot hand, isn't moving, nor is the needle in the VSI, or the vertical speed indicator, moving. This indicates that we're in level flight. Now let's try an experiment. I want you to gently pull the joystick back about ½ an inch from its center position and hold it there. Now watch the response.
Right, pulling back. Hey. How much more you want me to pull back on this
Notice the
joystick
airplane
man?
pitches up. The miniature airplane in the attitude indicator pitches up too. Now look at the altimeter. The 100-foot hand is moving clockwise.
Alright, let's pause this again. Let's pause the stream. Let's see how I can like mute those notifications, because I don't want them to be coming up and disturbing me. Oh, okay, that was pretty simple. Just click the thing to turn it off. Oh, let's go back. There we go. Oh, increase the pitch to 10 degrees pitch up. Alright, I'm not quite sure how much back is 10 degrees. I am pulling back. You want me to stall? Pulling back. Or decrease the pitch. 10 degrees, is this 10 degrees? Put back on the joystick to pitch the nose up. That's what I'm doing, that's what I'm still doing. Let's see if we can make this thing bigger. Come on. Yes. No. Okay, we can't make the text bigger. We can make the box bigger, but not the text. Okay, let's not do this. Let's not do that anymore. Alright, let's get rid of that. Go back to lessons. And let's do turns, because this is what I actually need help with. Turning on to headings and knowing how much degrees of bank this stuff is. Actually, I probably should read this so I could know how much. Yes, this would definitely help people in multiplayer and Steam Edition. Okay, cool. Let's fly it, listen. Alright, let me open up Mixer to see if I'm streaming on Mixer, and most likely I'm not. Come on, man. Chase plane. Yeah, chase plane is functional.
Now that you know what straight and level flight looks like, in this lesson, we're going to learn how to turn. After all, let's face it, unless the place you're going is right in front of you, sooner or later, you'll have to turn. I hope you did your homework before starting this flight.
Nope.
Once again, we're in the Cessna 172 SP in this beautiful Puget Sound region of western Washington. I've got the airplane, so you just relax a bit. Let's begin by looking at the top of the attitude indicator. Do you see the orange pointer pointing directly above the thick white line at the top of the indicator? This
That should be
means our
this.
wings are level, which agrees with the position of the
And
miniature
these
airplane.
here.
The arrow on top points to the bank angle. The bank angle is the angle our wings make relative to the horizon. The three short lines on either side of the fat one represent the bank in increments of 10 degrees.
10
In other words,
degrees.
10, 20, and 30 degrees of bank.
30.
The two short lines way past the 30-degree mark and the horizon are the 60 and 90-degree bank lines.
60
We
and
won't
90.
bank that far though. Now check the heading indicator. That's the one right below the attitude indicator with all the numbers on it.
Okay, so I did not know the increments before,
See how it
so that
shows
was
W
helpful.
at the top of the dial? That means we're on a heading of west or 270 degrees. We call it 270 because we get paid by the syllable, and that's the way it's said in aviation. Each big mark on the heading indicator represents 10 degrees of turn, and each small mark represents 5 degrees. North is 0, and it's also called 360. East is 090. We put the
It's
leading
down here.
0 on to prevent confusion, and south is 180. Watch me make a turn to 090 degrees. That's the E on the heading indicator.
Okay, so we're
And
going
we
to
should
do
check
180
for traffic
degree.
before we turn. No, I don't mean automobile traffic either. There are no cars up here. I'm speaking specifically of airplane traffic. We don't want to run into another simulator up here on this lesson. As the airplane banks,
Ha! This guy is funny. I hope FS 2020 includes something like this. Like lessons and a hilarious flight instructor. And also I hope that FS 2020 has, you can if you're hosting a multiplayer server, you can have a minimum requirement, so you can lock out people who have not done any of the lessons or know how to fly. Because I know there are some people who would just download FSX Steam Edition and hop straight into the multiplayer. They don't know how to fly, they don't know how to take off, they don't know how to taxi properly. Then you hear people complaining, oh, I don't know how to take off in the 7.4, like full throttle and pull back on the stick. And you know, it's kind of annoying. So I hope FS 2020 you can limit who goes into the multiplayer based on their knowledge or criteria or whatever. Okay. Okay, I see Rod is flying. Oh, let's see if I can peep Twitch. Alright, as of current moment, I have no idea if you guys are leaving comments or if people are actually watching the stream. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up Twitch on my phone. Twitch Twitch. Let's also put my phone to charge. Twitch. Alright, so are we just gonna be watching Rod fly? Yeah, I was watching the turn demonstration. Alright, FSX totes. NAN followers? Does that mean 0? But it says I'm live. Stream is taking a while to come on. Ah, okay. Yeah, we are live on Twitch. Can you guys see that? Ta-da! We are live on Twitch. Pretty dope. And it looks as if we have like a 5-second delay. It's not too bad. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, what? Roughly 5 seconds. So let's do that again. Pop. Oh, our camera might be frozen. I see something. Yeah, our camera is frozen. But that sucks. So, first time that has happened in a long time. So I'm going to turn off the camera. You heard the pudung. Let me turn it back on. Hey, okay. We're back. So let's try this again. Hey, we are live on Twitch. We are live on Twitch. We did the turn demonstration already, man. Come on, come on. What are you doing? Ah, this sucks. Let's do flight analysis because we did turn. We started here. We did a 180-degree turn. And now we're here. Was there something I missed? I doubt it. Let's do that again. Turns. Fly this lesson. And that was weird. We were supposed to be banking. Alright.
Now that you know what straight and level flight looks like,
Let's go back
next
to
lesson,
YouTube and
we're
peep
going
our
to learn
stream.
how to turn. After all, let's face it, Unless the place you're going is right in front of you, sooner or later, you'll have to turn. I
Mm-hmm.
hope you did your homework before starting this flight.
Sure.
Once again, we're in the Cessna 172 SP in this beautiful Puget Sound region of western Washington. I've got the airplane, so you just relax a bit. Let's begin by looking at the top of the attitude indicator.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the orange pointer pointing directly above the thick white line at the top of the indicator? This means our wings are level, which agrees with the position of the miniature airplane. The arrow on top points to the bank angle. The bank angle is the angle our wings make relative to the horizon. The three short lines on either side of the fat one represent the bank in increments of 10 degrees. In other words, 10, 20, and 30 degrees of bank. The two short lines way past the 30-degree mark and the horizon are the 60 and 90-degree bank lines. We won't bank that far, though. Now check the heading indicator.
Yep,
That's the one
I see
right
it.
below the attitude indicator with all the numbers on it. It looks like a roulette wheel with an airplane in the middle. See how it shows W at the top of the dial?
Yep.
That means we're on a heading of west or 270 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
We call it 270 because we get paid by the syllable, and that's the way it's said in aviation.
Ha!
Each big
He
mark
said
on
we
the
get
heading
paid by
indicator
the
represents
syllable.
10
That's
degrees of
funny.
turn, and each small mark represents 5 degrees. North is 0, and it's also called 360.
I can't wait to learn how to use
East is 0, 9,
DME.
or 0. We put the leading 0 on to prevent confusion.
This is
And
cool.
South is 180. Watch me make a turn to 090 degrees.
Or
The
east.
E on the heading indicator.
Yes.
And we
Okay.
should check for traffic before we turn. No, I don't mean automobile traffic either. There are no cars up here. I'm speaking specifically of airplane traffic. We don't want to run into another simulator up here on this lesson. As the airplane banks, the wings of the airplane bank with it, and the arrow at the top points to our bank angle. We normally use 20 degrees of bank to turn. There are a lot of good reasons for this, but the most important one right now is because I say so. Some of the wings lift is being used to turn the airplane, so I'll have to pull back slightly on the joystick to compensate.
I hope they
How
bring
much
this
should I
guy
pull
back for FS
Just enough
2020.
so that the needles in the altimeter and the VSI don't move. Of course, the higher the bank angle we use, the more we'll have to pull back. As we approach our desired heading, we start to roll the wings level and release the back pressure we've been holding. We have to start a rollout before we get to the heading, or else we'll shoot past it and have to turn back, and all the birds will laugh at us. The higher the bank angle, the sooner we have to start our rollout. With a 20-degree bank, we need to start about 20 degrees before our heading. If we try and roll out at the last minute, we could roll out too fast, and some of our passengers may bump their heads against the window, and that always makes them cranky.
Yep.
In your car, if you make small, smooth changes to the steering wheel, you'll get smooth turns and happy passengers. If you make sudden, abrupt changes, you'll get squealing tires and higher insurance rates. In an airplane, if you make large, abrupt changes with the controls, you'll get unhappy passengers and possibly a bent airplane. Now, if you really feel the need to yank and bank, then get Microsoft Combat Flight Simulator. As long as I'm here with you, however, let's just keep the small...
That was so cool. He was like, get Microsoft Combat Flight
Now,
Simulator.
I want you to make a turn to the left. I'm going to handle the altitude and throttle. That way, you can concentrate on the aileron.
Altitude. Okay, cool.
Take the joystick and move it slowly to the left. When the bank angle reaches 20 degrees, let the stick return to center or, if necessary, deflect it as necessary to maintain this bank angle. Gently make tiny changes left and right to hold the bank at 20 degrees.
20 degrees. Okay, gotcha. Alright, we are rolling to the left. Right.
While we are banked, take a second or two to peek outside. It's real pretty in this part of the country. Remember to always keep your primary attention on the attitude indicator. Bank the wings less.
Ooh,
Notice
sorry.
how the horizon line makes the same angle with the panel as the horizon line makes with the miniature airplane in the attitude indicator. One of the primary reasons we have an attitude indicator is so that we know how we are banked and pitched if we accidentally wander into a cloud and we can't see outside. Bank the wings less.
Less. Okay. This is 20, right? Yeah, this is 20. Increase a bit more. A little bit more.
Let's roll back
Cool.
into straight and level flight.
So the two increments, that's 10 degrees
Bank
each,
your
right?
wings left.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah.
I want you to turn right and use a 10-degree bank angle.
So that's only one up here. Alright, so we're rolling to the right.
Notice how the heading changes. The bank angle determines the rate of turn. A small bank angle gives us a small turn rate. A large bank angle gives us a larger turn rate.
Makes sense.
Let's roll back into straight and level flight.
Ah, okay.
I've got
Thank
the
you.
airplane. I'm going to make a turn to the right. While we're turning, look at the turn coordinator. That's the instrument in the lower left-hand corner of the 6 primary instruments. It has a little white airplane on it and a tube with a black ball in the center. The little airplane shows the rate of your turn, and the black ball tells you the quality of the turn. When I say quality, I mean whether the turn is coordinated between the aileron and the rudder.
Okay, yeah, I need to
Because the
learn
rudder is
this.
a difficult thing to master, I'll take care of it for you. Just
Bless.
for fun, look at the black ball. As long as the black ball is centered between the 2 black lines, we're making a coordinated turn. Some people call this black ball and its track the inclinometer, and I'm inclined to do the same. When the ball is deflected
I love
right
this
or left of
this
the center,
boomer
we should use
humor.
the controls to maneuver it back to the center position. There's one more thing about the heading indicator I think you should know about. You may have noticed an orange pointer moving around it. This is called a heading bug, despite the fact that it doesn't have any legs. Professional pilots often set the heading bug to the heading they want to fly before they start a turn. That way, they don't forget where they're supposed to be going in case a real bug enters the cockpit and distracts them while they're swatting it. Of course, there are other distractions too, like talking on the radio, maintaining altitude, and adjusting our cool sunglasses. I want you to try moving the heading
I
bug
love
indicator
this
to a
this
specific
guy.
heading.
This guy's
Start
awesome.
by pointing your mouse at the knob on the lower right-hand side of the heading indicator.
This here, right?
The mouse pointer changes to a hand with a minus or plus sign inside as you pass it from the left side of the knob to the right.
Yep.
Clicking the right side of the knob moves the heading bug clockwise and the selected
Let's see
heading
if I'm-
increases.
Yeah, okay, so the desktop audio was working. Just making sure that you guys could hear this guy. Oh, did you say something? Oh, did you want me to change some headings? What did you say? Oh dear, there's no... Okay, so I'm just gonna change it. Oh, that's the autopilot? No. Is this the autopilot? I changed it and it changed. Let's go over there. Crap. Probably was not a good idea to pause the sim because he stopped talking. Let's turn it back to the left. Cool. Crap, yeah. So I think it kind of freaks out when you pause the sim. So I figured out turns. Let's end the flight. And let's not pause the simulator again. So let's open up OBS, Streamlabs. I'm gonna be talking. Looking at the audio. Yep, audio is good. 0 viewers, that is kind of sad, but hey, that is life. Climbs and descents. So for no one who is watching my stream, how y'all doing? Leave me a comment. Let me know what's good. This is full. This
In
is
this lesson,
yeah.
we're going to go through some of life's little ups and downs, but in airplanes, we call them climbs and descents. We're going to learn more
That guy's
about
hilarious.
the relationship between pitch and power and how you use them to climb or descend in the airplane. We're also going to learn a little bit about the flaps and how you use them. As always, because this is a simulator, we'll use the attitude indicator as our primary reference instrument. So take a look at it to see what it's telling you. It shows that we're in a straight and level flight attitude.
Yes, it is.
The other instruments will confirm this.
What's
Check the
happening up here?
tachometer on the lower right-hand corner of the instrument panel for the power setting. This shows your current power setting is about 2400 RPMs.
Oh, that's down here.
Climbing an airplane consists of 3 steps. First, we'll establish the proper pitch attitude. In this airplane, that's about 12.5 degrees nose-up pitch. Next, we'll apply power, as in push the throttle forward. Then we'll trim the airplane. Anytime we enter a climb, we always, and that is always, do these 3 steps in this order. We change the attitude first, then power next, then trim last. Think of this as a mantra, and your aviation kung fu will always be strong. Watch as I demonstrate a climb to 4,000 feet now. Pay attention to how I adjust the attitude first, then power next, and finally the trim last.
Okay.
I begin by raising the nose to an attitude that I know from experience is proper for the climb. In this case, it's approximately 10 degrees nose-up pitch. I push the throttle all the way in because in most small airplanes we always climb with full power. As the nose comes up, the airspeed begins to decrease. To learn about why this happens, read the ground school section on climbs and descents.
What the hell? That's
When the
10
attitude
degrees?
selected gives me 75 knots. I give it enough nose-up trim to hold the airplane in this pitch attitude. And that's it. No smoke or mirrors involved here. Besides, this is a no-smoking flight. Each
That was
airplane
not
has a
10
speed at
degrees.
which it will climb most efficiently. The manufacturer normally determines this for you. In this airplane, it's between 70 and 76 knots. But we'll use 75 knots because that number is easier to find on the airspeed indicator. As the airplane approaches within 200 feet of the assigned altitude, I begin leveling off into straight and level flight again. Remember, attitude, power, and trim in that order.
Trim? Oh, this is trim.
I gently push the nose over to level up, thus selecting a straight and level flight attitude.
I've almost never used trim in a climb.
Next, I adjust the power. But since I want to accelerate to cruise speed, I'll
So
leave
you
it
use
full
the
power
trim?
until reaching a
That-
cruise speed of 100 knots.
That's interesting. I only use trim for a level flight. And that's because the trim in the planes that I fly add-on aircraft mostly. So those aircraft trims would be crap anyway, and I have to adjust it myself. But this is interesting. You adjust your trim during a climb. Don't quite understand why. I guess I can always read.
When reaching this speed, I'll reduce power to 2400 RPM. Finally,
24.
I'll trim the airplane so that I don't have to work so hard. Okay, now that you've seen how it's done, it's your turn, Maestro. I want you to try a climb. Since I'm your instructor, I'm going to help you out a bit by controlling the bank. All you need to do is worry about the climb. Okay, you've got the controls. Begin by selecting the proper attitude for a climb, which is about 12.5 degrees of nose-up pitch, which is between the second and third hash marks on the attitude indicator. As you do this, I want you to add full power. Yes,
Okay.
you can do this as soon as you start raising the nose.
Right.
Make small, and I do mean small adjustments in pitch to give you a climb speed of 75 knots. If the airspeed is too slow, then lower the pitch attitude a degree or 2. If the airspeed is too high, then raise the pitch attitude a degree or 2. Push the throttle in more. Pull back on the stick. Push the throttle in more. Slow down.
Alright, so I probably have to pitch up some more to get the 75 knots.
Remember, attitude, power, and trim in that order.
I don't know how to use the trim, I'm sorry.
Push the throttle in more.
Ah, okay, so we have to be at full tilt. Alright, we have 200 to go. I can probably start pushing forward. 200 to go. Alright.
Push the throttle in more.
Ah! Alright, we're at 4,900. I'm going to level off. Then I have to do something with the trim again. What's our trim? 3.2 degrees nose up. Alright, so let's go to 3. That's 3 clicks of down trim. 1.4. Oh, now I'm decreasing. So I just pull up just a little bit. And then 1 click nose down. Push the nose down. Push the nose down. Down, 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 down. Accelerate to 100 knots.
Excellent job.
Fantastic.
Let me take over for a moment and hold 5,000 feet while I talk to you a bit about descent. A descent is a little different from a climb. As we select a nose-down pitch attitude, we simultaneously reduce power. Remember, with power reduced, we have no choice but to come down. That's why there are no gliders stuck up in the air. We do, however, have a choice of the speed at which we want to descend. We'll make all our descents at 90 knots. Of course, we always use trim to make the airplane easier to fly too. If we desire, we can adjust our rate of descent to power.
How do you use the trim?
We'll make all the descents with the throttle pulled all the way back to its idle position. Don't worry, the engine won't quit when we do this. In the descent, we don't have to pitch over very much at all. In fact, you'll almost never need to pitch down more than about 2 or 3 degrees below the horizon. With all that in mind, I think you're ready to try a descent. Remember, think attitude, power, and trim. Also remember that, with the power reduced to idle, you'll need to make a small adjustment in the attitude to give you an airspeed of 90 knots. If you're going down too fast, raise the nose just a bit, hold it there, and see what happens to the airspeed. If you're going down too slow, lower the nose a bit, hold it there, and see what happens to the airspeed. Repeat this process until you're descending at a speed of 90 knots. Ready? I'll keep the wings level for you during this descent. You worry about pitch, power, and trim. Okay, pull the throttle back to idle and descend at 90 knots to 4,000 feet. Level off there, then we'll discuss flaps.
Alright, so we're reducing to flight idle. Right. $92 knots. Push forward a bit more. Oh, actually, maybe not. We have to pull up. Alright, we're coming up, and there we go, 90 knots. If we're going a bit slower than 90 knots, so we push forward to increase to 90. When we go past 90, we pull back. So I'm just going to aim for 10 degrees nose down. Alright, 200 to go. Start leveling off. Bringing the power back online. Oops, need to descend some more. And 4,000. Aren't you proud of me? Now I'm going to increase power again to 100. Oh yes, they just said maintain 4,000 and increase to 100 knots. Alright, let's put the nose down because we're climbing a bit. Nose down.
Alright, you did a fine job, Captain.
Thank you.
I think it's time we talk about flaps, which isn't something we do with our arms when we want to fly. When it's time to land,
Boomer
we don't
humor.
want to land fast. No sense burning the tires off our airplane. Besides, a slower landing speed makes the airplane easier to control during touchdown. We don't, however, want to fly too slow because we'll end up stalling and this could put a dent in your day and the airplane as well.
Dent in your day.
Flaps on the wings to
I'll
allow
start
them to
using that from
fly.
now on.
Flaps come with a price though. They increase the drag considerably. This is why we use them specifically for landing and, on rare occasions, for takeoffs. This airplane has 4 flap settings: up, 10 degrees, 20 degrees, and 30 degrees. Normal landings are made with flaps at 30 degrees. Notice that the flap selector is displayed on the bottom right-hand corner of the panel under the tachometer. The white pointer on the right is the flap position indicator. Each time you press the F7 key, the flaps will extend 10 degrees more.
That's here.
F6 retracts them 10 degrees at a time. Now I want you to practice extending the flaps while we're in a power-off descent. Our goal is to be in a power-off descent at 65 knots with the flaps fully extended. You'll find that the nose of the airplane wants to pitch up as the flaps are extended, so you'll need to lower the nose in order to keep the airspeed from getting too slow too quickly. Feel free to let the airspeed decay below 90 knots since we're looking for an eventual descent at 65 knots. Ready? I'll keep the wings level for you while you control the pitch, power, and trim.
No, I don't want to use the trim.
Idle and begin the descent at 90 knots.
Okay, my
When
flaps
your airspeed below
is on this button here.
the maximum flap extension speed for 10 degrees of flaps. Press F7 once. You can watch the selector move when you press F7 and watch the indicator move to show the current position of the flaps. Pull the throttle back more. Press F7 again as the airspeed slows to 85 knots, and one last time at 75 knots. Now you have full flaps extended. Raise your flaps.
Oops. 75 knots, then we do it again.
Lower your flaps.
80 knots. Flaps coming down.
Lower your flaps.
75 knots.
You're too high. Descend.
Descent to 3000.
Now, don't let the nose come up more than 5 degrees above the horizon at first. You'll need to apply a lot of forward pressure on the joystick. Now we need to begin raising those flaps, so press the F6 key once to retract the first 10 degrees of flaps. Pull back on the stick. Let the airplane stabilize and begin to accelerate, then press the F6 key again. Keep the airplane at a lower 5-degree pitch-up attitude so that it will accelerate quickly. Pull
I think
back on the stick.
pitch up. I need to add power, don't I? I'm gonna stall. I don't want to stall.
Now, press the F6 key again to get rid of the last 10 degrees of flaps and adjust the attitude to give you a climb speed of 75 knots. Finally, trim for a climb speed of 75 knots. Congratulations! You've just simulated making a missed approach from a landing, which is what you would do if you get to the runway and there's something else on it, like another airplane.
Cool.
Okay, let's climb back to 5,000 feet and we'll turn to a heading of 270 degrees. I've got the airplane, so kick back while we climb to altitude.
Alright. It's a bit weird that I can't see the flap setting. And also he's using the trim, like, why? So do I use the trim instead of pushing back and pushing forward? I don't quite understand the trim. I know trim is for level flight, so that you can just fly hands off and you use your trim to counteract any nose pitch up or pitch down attitude. Or if, let's say, you're flying a 2-engine plane and 1 engine goes off, you apply some rudder trim so you don't have to keep hitting the rudder. Alright, 3,500. Alright, I promised myself I would not pause the sim for any reason, because he just stopped talking. And we don't want him to just stop talking.
When we get to 5,000 feet, I'd like you to try a descent, but with a twist. I
Uh-oh.
want you to make a descending turn to the right. This means that you'll not only need to adjust the pitch to maintain an airspeed of 90 knots, but you will also have to control the bank as well.
Why would you do this to me?
Up till now, I've kept the wings level, but it's your turn to do it all. Just like in level flight, when you enter a turn, you'll have to change the back pressure on the joystick to maintain the desired airspeed.
Okay, so I am using the joystick to maintain whatever airspeed or whatever. So why the trim? I don't get it.
20 degrees of bank for all your turns.
20 degrees, so that is these two notches here. One, this is 10, the second one is 20. $200 to go. See, as we approach the 5,000, the rate of the vertical speed is going to decrease.
We're coming up on 5,000 feet while flying a heading of 270 degrees. I'm giving you control of the airplane. Ready?
No? Psych. I'm ready.
Pull the throttle back more. Speed up.
Push forward a bit more.
Speed up.
Right. 20 degrees. 20 degrees of bank. A little bit more. There we go. Okay, we're too fast. Oh, okay. 100 to go. Oh, we overshot a bit.
Speed up. Pull the throttle back more.
Okay. We're descending past 4,000, just to let you know. Oh, we're going to 3,000 now. Okay. Yeah, I could do that. Increase the bank. There we go. Oh,
Bank the wings more.
to the left. Oh. Well, you need to tell me that, man.
Slow down. Bank the wings less.
Nope.
You're too high. Descend.
Sorry. Come on. Go down to 3,000. Set the power. Alright, Rod, you want to fly, or am I, or did I like super feel? Uh-oh, yeah, I think we super failed. What's there's power here though? Oh, it doesn't see. Let's see if I could. Yeah, that's alright, that was just chase plane. Okay, he stopped talking. Let's end the flight. That's slow flight. Slow flight. Angle of attack, yes. So remember, I was talking about angle of attack in a couple missions ago. Especially like the carrier, when I was doing carrier operations, I was talking about angle of attack. So yeah, you guys definitely need to visit the learning center and flight sim. And read this stuff. This stuff is very helpful. And it makes you a better pilot. But I suppose nobody wants to learn, everybody just wants to dick around in multiplayer, so you get what you deserve. Right. Is this 3/4 throttle? This is half.
In this lesson,
3/4.
slow
Yes, there we
things
go.
down a bit. We're going to practice slow flight or flying just above the stall speed. Master
Good grief.
slow flight, and you are indeed on your way to mastering the airplane. Remember, do your homework before starting this flight. We're up in the air at 4,000 feet over Puget Sound, a nice, safe altitude. I want you to feel comfortable operating at slow speeds, so you'll know how to control the aircraft as you're operating in the traffic pattern and when you're approaching to land. Because slow flight is close to stalling, you'll need to know where the critical spots are. But don't worry, I won't let you get into too much trouble today. No, I'm not wearing a parachute either. If you see me wearing one, then that's when you need to start worrying yourself. I'd like to demonstrate the relationship
Boomer,
between airspeed
humor.
and angle of attack. You could read more about it in the ground school section.
Yes,
As
angle of
we
attack,
reduce
very,
power and
very,
airspeed decreases,
very important.
we need to increase the angle of attack to maintain sufficient lift for level flight. As we increase power and the airspeed increases, we need to decrease the angle of attack to maintain altitude. This relationship between angle of attack and airspeed is an important one. It's a relationship that you can't get out of, nor should you want to.
Whoa, what did you do?
Watch how I must increase the pitch attitude, or angle of attack in this case, to hold altitude as the airplane's speed decreases. As the airplane slows down,
Look at these,
I
like,
must
jerking
increase
this
the angle of
throttle.
attack to maintain sufficient lift to keep the airplane flying in level flight.
Just weird. It's weird, man. 29% gas. Alright, so we're decreasing. And he should be pulling up on the... pulling the nose up to maintain level flight. But your speed is going to be decreasing.
As the airspeed decreases below 70 knots, you can easily see how much the angle of attack must increase to keep the airplane in the air at this slower speed.
We're at 10 degrees nose up.
Speed between cruise speed and stall speed. Now, what's stall speed? Well, that's coming up in a future lesson. The most important thing here is to understand that as you slow the airplane down, you must increase its angle of attack to maintain the desired flight condition, which, in our situation, was straight and level flight. And you'll need to add power to remain in straight and level flight.
Yep. So... okay, yeah, now we're climbing. This ain't no straight and level flight, man. What are you on about?
Are you ready? Let's go. Reduce the power to about 1500 RPM and allow the airspeed to slow to 60 knots.
Okay. Alright, I'm peeping the tachometer. 1500. Oh, 1500 is idle.
Slow down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, just above idle. Okay. Oh, I have to bring the nose up. Now maintain an altitude of 4,000.
When you get there, you'll have to increase the power to nearly 2,000 RPM to maintain 4,000 feet at 60 knots. You're too low. Climb.
Why are we turning? Why are we turning? Might be this tree splinting, you know.
Make small adjustments to pitch to maintain 60 knots and adjustments to power to hold 4,000 feet. Use sufficient nose-up trim to reduce the back pressure needed on the joystick to keep the airplane in this attitude. This is how you enter slow flight while maintaining your altitude.
But why are we turning?
So, if you're following a slower airplane...
Alright, you know what I'm gonna do? Ah, shite, I was not supposed to pause it.
Land. At least you know how to slow down to avoid chewing off the tail of his airplane with your propeller, right? This is also another reason why we practice.
Why are we turning? It's weird. Alright, that's 60 knots.
You're too high. Descend. Excellent. Now I want you to exit slow flight and return to straight and level flight at 4,000 feet. I'm still controlling the bank for you while you do the rest.
That was you?
I want you to add power and simultaneously lower the nose. As the airplane begins to accelerate, lower the nose at a rate that allows you to maintain altitude. See how the airplane is accelerating while maintaining altitude? Fantastic. When you reach 100 knots, reduce power to 2,500 RPM and trim for cruise flight.
Oh, yes. My trim was all out of whack too. Whoops, I should not have clicked that. Alright, that's better. 100 knots.
Push the throttle in more.
Alright, I'm gonna decrease to 4,000, but then you're gonna stay slow down. Because I'm...
When you reach 100 knots, reduce engine RPM to maintain 100 knots. Push the throttle in more.
Dude.
This is how you exit slow flight and return to a faster cruise flight condition. You remember when I said we always use attitude, power, and trim in that order? Well, there are a few exceptions. One is when exiting slow flight. It's best to add power and simultaneously lower the nose. If we
oh, sorry, Rod, that's you flying.
Power, we might lose a little altitude as we accelerate. No sense doing this if we don't have to. You can see that in order to maintain altitude, you must decrease the wing's angle of attack. Do you see how a faster speed allows the airplane to fly at a lower angle of attack? Can you see the relationship between angle of attack and airspeed? Now, if you're not getting this, refer to the ground school session on the topic of slow flight. This is a very important topic, and you must understand the aerodynamics involved here for any of this to make sense. I think you probably have many questions, but now it's time to practice on your own. I'm going to cut you loose to practice entering and exiting slow flight.
Good grief.
Practice flying at speeds between 100 knots and 50 knots. Hopefully, this won't put knots in your stomach. Make sure you maintain altitude as you do this, and if you're feeling daring, you can even try a small turn while you're in slow flight.
Nope.
Just add power as necessary to maintain altitude and adjust that pitch to maintain your airspeed.
Alright, I'm gonna do the thing now, the thing that he said. So, trying to maintain around 4,000 feet. Alright. Oh, flight idle. A little bit more than flight idle. Alright. Bring the nose up. I'm gonna do 4,000 plus or minus 1,100 feet. Alright, here we go. So we're at 60 knots. And we're in slow flight, but we're turning. I think that's our gyro drift making us turn though. Alright, we're below 60 knots. So what we're going to do now, we're going to increase power to full. We're going to slowly bring the nose forward. Slowly. Slowly. 8 knots. Slowly. Slowly. Alright, the nose is level. Wow. Cool. Send the flight. Flight analysis. See, we were not supposed to be turning. Rod turned us, but we were not supposed to be turning. Interesting. Alright, lessons. Takeoffs. Nice. Yeah. This is like one of the easiest things to do. And people in multiplayer complaining, oh, I don't know how to take off with this aircraft. Like, dude, why would you download Flight Sim and just hop straight into the multiplayer? Don't do that.
In this lesson, we're going to slip those surly bonds of Earth and take our rightful place in the air where we belong.
Yes.
In other words, takeoffs. We're here in the Cessna 172 SP at the hold short line of runway 19 at Bremerton National Airport in Bremerton, Washington.
Bremerton.
We aren't going anywhere just yet, so relax just a second.
Relax your body.
Takeoffs are easy, and it's great to get airborne. There's not much to it. As you
My skin looks lovely. Well, my skin looks
kind
kinda ashy.
When you get enough speed, simply raise the nose a bit and the airplane will take off. All we're doing here is accelerating to a sufficient speed so that the wings can generate the lift necessary to keep us in the air. We do, however, want to make sure of a couple things first. The most important thing to remember is that we always take off into the wind when possible. By pointing into the wind, we
look
start
at
with
my
a little
skin.
air blowing
Ooh,
over our wings
beautiful.
to begin with. This means that we'll be able to reach our minimum liftoff speed of 55 knots sooner and become airborne sooner. In the process, we'll use less runway during the takeoff roll. Today, we have calm winds, so takeoff direction isn't an issue. Check the final approach path for airplanes. Use the hat switch or make sure your numlock light is on and press the number 4 key on the numeric keypad. Then check the runway for airplanes by using the hat switch or the number 6 key.
Oops. Yep. We're clear.
If the final approach path is clear, we can taxi onto the runway. As soon as we taxi onto the actual runway surface, that runway belongs to us and
Look
no
at
one
my
else should be
skin. Ooh. I need some sun though, but
As soon as we
my
taxi
skin
onto
looks
the actual
good.
runway surface, move the stick all the way to the right, or if you have a joystick you can twist it all the way to the right to line yourself up with it. Then
Oh, my
return the
hands
stick
are a
to
bit
the center
sticky
once
now.
you're pointed the right way and come to a stop by using the period key or the trigger on the joystick. Don't spend too much time taxiing around trying to be exact about it. Otherwise, you'll use up precious runway, and one of the most useless things in aviation is the runway that's behind you. Are you ready? Let's go.
Try my best to line up on this line. Okay, I'm not perfectly stuck.
All right, Captain. Let's do the before takeoff checklist. Cabin doors and windows closed and locked. Flight controls free and correct. fuel selector bolt. Mixture full rich. Elevator trim at takeoff setting. Before takeoff checklist is now complete. Of course, in a real
4.9?
airplane, we take a lot more time to complete this, but now it's time to fly. Take a deep breath, let it out, and apply full power with the throttle or by pressing F4.
Full power.
Check the airspeed indicator. When it reaches 55 knots, gently ease back on the joystick to establish a climb attitude. This is called rotation and has nothing to do with the airplane's tires.
55 knots. Takeoff.
Look at the attitude indicator. Make sure the little orange dot is on the second line in the blue part. This gives you the approximate attitude necessary for takeoff. Keep it there until the airspeed reaches 75 knots. As soon as it does, increase the climb attitude a little further until you're about 12.5 degrees nose-up pitch, which is between the second and third lines. Adjust the pitch up or down slightly, as necessary, to maintain 75 knots during the initial part of the climb.
Accelerate to 85.
Speed up.
Alright, we're at 80. Whoops, we're turning 85. That's 85, right?
Okay, although I try never to say that's about all there is to it, well, that's about all there is to it. Of course, there's a lot more to it than that. You'll need to worry about crosswind takeoffs, traffic patterns, air traffic control, other airplanes, and 100 other things. But now you understand some of the most important aspects of the takeoff. You can end this lesson by pressing the escape key, or you can rerun it by pressing the control and semicolon keys. As with all things in aviation,
Hey, Kenji. Thanks for commenting, man. Really appreciate it. Practice, practice, practice. Yep. Alright, we're doing some lessons in FSX. Learning Center, lessons. And we're over here. So, right now we're going to do landings. We finished all of these already. Let's go to landings. I've read this before. Oh, the visual approach. I thought this was called PAPI lights. Oh, this is the PAPI. Precision Approach Path Indicator. This is the PAPI. This is the Visual Approach Slope Indicator. Interesting. So I should definitely, in my own time, read this stuff again. But we're gonna fly the lesson now. Oh crap! No, I meant I should have clicked. No, I pressed the wrong thing. There's the part 1 and the part 2 to this lesson, and I click part 2. So I'm going to exit as soon as possible, then click part 1 because of continuity. Nope. We're going to end flight. Landings. Flight part 1. Yeah, whoops, my flag fell. Let's bring the flag back. We have to represent. Let's get back into the cockpit. There we go. $2,100.
I've got the airplane, so you just relax a bit. In this lesson, we're going to land back at Renton National Airport. It's almost dinner time, and I hear they have some pretty good fish and chips there.
Ooh, I like fish and chips.
Today, we're going to do several more, but we're going to learn a great deal more about what's going on. I've configured the airplane for a descent at 75 knots with 10 degrees of flaps, which will be our final configuration for landing on this approach. We'll land without full flaps on this demonstration. I think it's time for you to take the controls.
Great, I'm flying.
Notice that our power setting is 1900 RPM. This allows us to descend at a 500 foot per minute descent rate. I'm adjusting the pitch to maintain 75 knots. If at any time I thought I was too high, I'd reduce the power, perhaps a few hundred RPMs at first. If I thought I was too low, I'd add power, perhaps a few hundred RPMs initially.
I've never done an approach like this.
To maintain precisely 75 knots. The question is,
like so far out?
If you're too high or too low. You may have noticed the hoops we're flying through.
Mm-hmm.
That's a device used in Flight Simulator to help pilots become familiar with the maneuvers required for landing. As long as we stay inside those hoops, we will land right on the runway. Don't worry about
But we're
hitting them.
turning. Why are we
And they won't
turning?
hurt us. Ordinarily, we'd fly a standard rectangular traffic pattern to approach Bremerton and land.
I hate that
But
we're
today we
turning.
have clearance for a straight-in approach. Of course, the key to making your first landing a good one is to let me, your instructor, help you, which I'll gladly do. You will, however, do the most important part, and that is the landing flare. In the meantime, understand that the secret to landing any airplane is to keep from working too hard. When you have the airplane properly trimmed for the right airspeed, and you keep the wings level and make small adjustments to power, the airplane will practically land itself. We'll maintain this speed until we're past the threshold and are at 10 to 15 feet above the runway.
Why are we turning?
Then, reduce the power and flare the airplane for landing. Don't worry, I'll talk you through the flare. In the meantime, to flare means to raise the pitch of the airplane just enough so that the main landing gear touches down before the nose gear does.
Oh, we're too high now.
We'll do this by reducing power and pulling back slightly so the VSI shows no more than a 100 foot per minute descent rate. Then, as the airplane slows further, you'll raise the nose to a 14-degree nose-up pitch.
See, this guys were like turning all over the place.
Touch down. See the beginning of the runway?
Mm-hmm.
That's the runway threshold. You always want to land beyond the threshold.
Okay. Alright, I need to find some tissue really quick, so I could wipe my hands. I put some moisturizer on my hands because I was admiring my skin
We're coming up on flare.
in the camera.
As you approach within 100 feet of the runway, resist the temptation
Now
to start pulling back. This is a common
we're
problem
turning. Where are we
students during
turning?
their
Don't
first few
turn.
attempts at landing. Wait until you're at flare height to start pulling back on the joystick.
Yeah, I was admiring my skin, but then I saw I was a bit ashy, so I put some moisturizer on. And now my
We're now
hands
at
are
flare
slipping all
height.
over the joystick.
Reduce the power all the way to idle and raise the nose slightly to slow our descent rate to less than 100 feet per minute. As the airplane slows down, raise the nose to a 10-degree pitch attitude. Hold the nose there. As soon as we touch down, lower the nose to the ground and activate the brakes by holding down the period key or the trigger on your joystick. We'll stop here on the runway and talk about what we've done.
Oh no, what have I done? Stop.
Well done. What we have done here is learned about the poppy, thresholds, and a little about the landing flare. What we are going to do next is the same approach and landing as before, except without the hoops to fly through. This will teach us to depend on the poppy and help us to learn what the runway should look like during the approach in case the poppy is out of service. If you finish the ground school reading on landings, you should be ready to try the second landing lesson. I'll be here waiting for you when you're ready.
Cool. Okay, so this is your glide slope, the green thing. That's what it's called, right? Neat. And we have one viewer on YouTube. Really appreciate you, Ken G Hall. Alright. Landings, fly lessons, and fly the part 2. I didn't find tissue, but I found a sock. So I'm gonna use that to wipe the rest of the cream off my hands. 2100 RPM. There we go.
This is the second landing lesson. If you haven't taken the first landing lesson, hit the escape key to end this lesson and go back to lesson 6. We're back on a long final at Bremerton National Airport. The approach is the same as the first landing lesson, except we don't have the hoops to fly through. This time, you'll control the
Oh, I'm
airplane on
flying.
the approach
Jesus
as well as
Christ.
during the flare. The only thing I'll do is keep your wings level for you throughout the landing. As before, the airplane is about 4 miles from touchdown at 75 knots with 10
You sure I'm
flaps
flying?
extended,
The pitch is
same
moving by
power
itself.
setting and descent rate as before. Okay, you've got the airplane. Take the controls. Slow down. Always remember to use pitch to maintain our airspeed of 75 knots and use power to control the glide path. Here's one more tip for you. Take a look at our vertical speed indicator. At 75 knots, this airplane will need a descent of almost 500 feet per minute to make the runway.
Alright, I suppose I'll have to read up on trim later, because this is weird, man. It's almost as if I don't have to use my joystick for back pressure or forward pressure, just use the trim. Alright, I'm directly at 80 knots. So I'm going to pull back on the throttle a bit. Decreasing, decreasing, up. No, we're a bit too fast. Not a bit too fast, we're decreasing a bit too quickly. So I'm going to pull back on the stick. Increase our pitch a little bit. Alright, that looks good. 75 knots, indicating. Let's put our vertical speed. Almost 500 feet per minute. Ooh, we're too low on the poppy. We're too low on the glide slope though. So I'm going to add some power. Add some power and level off just a little bit. Alright, there we go. We're back on slope. Push the nose down.
Notice the lights to the left of the runway.
75
That's
knots.
the poppy or precision approach path indicator. It's a set of lights that change color automatically to help you determine if you're on the proper glide slope.
Automatically.
As you approach within 100 feet of the runway, resist the temptation to start pulling back. This is a common problem with students during their first few attempts at landing. Wait until you're at flare height to start pulling back on the joystick. As soon as you feel you're over the runway and at 10 to 15 feet above it, I want you to pull the throttle all the way back and flare like we did last time. Remember, we land with the power at idle in this airplane. If you find yourself gaining altitude during the flare, ease up on the back pressure and let the airplane settle back toward the runway. Then begin the flare again.
Okay, well, we are low on the poppy, but we are like almost on the center line. It's like a center line approach. I've never done a center line approach before.
Lower the nose to the ground and activate the brakes by holding down the period key or the trigger on your joystick. We'll stop here on the runway and talk about what we've done.
When he says talk about what we've done, it makes me sound as if I've goofed. I goofed up. But I haven't goofed up. Oh, sorry, we should be at flight idle now. Beautiful. Briggs. Nice.
Outstanding. In this lesson, we use the poppy to make an approach and landing without using the simulated hoops in the sky. Please replay this lesson as often as you need to until you feel totally comfortable with it.
Nah, son. I'm good. Alright. First solo. So in this solo, we're going to take off, fly pattern, and land. So fun.
Okay, partner, now for the moment of truth. This is your first solo. You have the skills you need to make a complete circuit around the airport and land. I'll be telling you by radio when to turn to fly the pattern, but I won't be giving you many instructions about flying the airplane. I'd like to see you do that on your own. So I'm going to step out of the airplane now and let you fly by yourself for the very first time. But
What?
here's some last
Don't
minute
leave
advice.
me.
Be sure to reduce power as I direct you to when you're abeam the threshold. Don't forget that pitch, power, and trim is your key to a good landing for landing. Notice that the heading bug is set to the runway heading. Through the magic of simulation, the heading bug will move to the heading I want you to fly when I tell you to fly them. So pay attention to it when I tell you to turn. All
Okay.
right, time to solo. So here you go. I want you to take off, climb to 1,500 feet, and maintain 80 knots during your climb.
1500. Okay, so we're almost at 500. Okay, we're not gonna put any flaps for takeoff.
Push the throttle in more.
Increase the full. Alright. Take off.
Continue your climb to traffic pattern altitude. When you level off at 1,500 feet, reduce your power to 2,200 RPM, which will have you flying the pattern at about 85 knots.
Alright, I'm maintaining 80 knots in my climb. $800 feet, let's check that. 800. $1,500 to go. Still maintaining that 80 knots brilliantly. $1,300. Oh, we're slowing down a bit. Alright, and here we are at 1,500.
Okay, it looks like you've leveled off. So turn left 90 degrees to a heading of 100 degrees using a 20-degree bank. Speed up.
Sorry. Alright, rule out. Roll out, roll out, roll out, roll out. Hey, we did it! And we maintain that 80 knots. Nice. Alright, I kind of want to fly hands off. How is my trim? Trim is 4.9 degrees nose up, which might be a problem.
You're too high. Descend.
We should be at, what are we? 4. Ooh. 2001. Let's continue to
It's time
descend.
to make another left turn. Turn 90 degrees to the left and fly parallel to the runway, opposite the direction we'll be landing.
Alright, 20 degrees of bank. Maintain that.
You're too high. Descend.
Pushing the nose down to descend to 1,500. Roll out,
You're
roll
looking
out,
good.
roll out, roll
Bank the
out,
wings less.
roll out, roll out. We made it. Okay. We are on our downwind leg now. Pretty dope. 85 knots. Increasing. We don't want to do that. Let's add some nose up trim so we can fly hands off. Alright. And from what I've learned from carrier landings,
Okay, you're abeam the runway threshold, so
yes, you always extend your downwind.
maintain your heading, and descend to 1,300 feet. Now don't forget to use the trim as needed.
1 notch of flaps. Aye. Oh, sorry. We need to be increasing. Oh no, wait. You said decrease.
Yeah.
What? I'm confused. Oh, decrease to 1,300 feet. Okay. So this is 1,300 feet. And let's add some more trim. Adding trim is weird because you can't add too much at once because you don't know how much each increment of trim is affecting your airplane. Okay, so this is pretty much straight and level, so we're going to decrease with the yoke.
Now it's time to make another 90-degree turn to the left. So turn left to a heading of 280 degrees.
Alright, I'm going to also be using that glorious 20 degrees of bank. So, ta-da! 20 degrees of bank. Can use some back pressure now. Roll out, roll out, roll out, roll out, roll out. Lovely! Alright, we're a bit off, but that should be fine. Alright, pretty much hands off. I'm just keeping an eye on my throttle and my tachometer. We're turning, which I don't want to
turn right more.
Yeah, I noticed that. You don't have to tell me.
Now it's time to make your last 90-degree turn to the left.
Good
so
grief.
Turn left to a heading of about 190 degrees, and then make adjustments to line yourself up with the runway.
20 degrees of bank. I think we should probably increase speed. No.
Okay, the runway is in front
Yep.
of you, and it's time to show me how well you can land this airplane. You're too high. Reduce power.
Yep, this is a normal approach for me. This all makes sense now.
You're too high. Reduce power.
Alright, there we go.
Start your descent and line up on a good glide path using the poppy. So come on down here and pick me up, and if you show me that you can land safely, I'll award you with your solo certificate.
Oi, we're low. Oh crap, I was supposed to be looking down here. Vertical speed, 500 feet per minute at, I can't remember how fast. Oh well, it is what it is. Looking at that 500 feet per minute. Alright, we're at flare height now. Bringing the nose up. Touchdown. Wheel brakes. Good job.
Well done. Congratulations on your first solo. You did it all by yourself, and bandages, splints, and paramedics weren't involved. Good show.
Jolly good. Ooh, yeah, look at that. Let's zoom in a bit. This is our traffic pattern here. took off. See, we were turning a bit when we weren't supposed to. Turn, 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 turn. Let's see how that looks here. Maintain altitude relatively good. You're supposed to start to descend here. Yeah. Oh well. There we go. First flight solo. Type my name in. Yeah. Okay. Print. I don't have a printer on me, so I'm going to print the PDF. FSX solo. Hide. Close. Nice. So we have our solo in FSX. Now let's do the private pilot stuff. Steep turns and VOR navigation is what gets me. I don't think I did my private pilots before. Let's check it. Certificates? Nope. Oops. Let's go back to the Learning Center, Lessons, Taxiing. Very, very useful to know. The black is the taxiway you're on, and the yellow with the two arrows, that's what's your, this is like your cross street. An hour and 33 minutes in flight time. Well, that's how long our stream is going, not necessarily flight sim. Alright, so we have one person, at least one person commented on YouTube. Let's see if there's anyone watching us on Twitch. And we're waiting. Let me close some of these tabs. Ooh, what's going on? What do you have to do now? Nope. No one is watching us on Twitch. A bit sad. Okay, yeah, I probably should have read the thing. Okay, guess we don't really need that. Ah, look at that, beautiful. All right.
Stall in an airplane is not the same thing as when the engine in your car stalls, and about the only thing they have in common is the name. When we talk about stalls in an airplane, we're talking about the wings losing their ability to generate lift. When that happens, we are no longer a beautiful bird soaring amongst the clouds. We instead become just another rock falling to the ground. In this lesson, we're going to stop flying, so you can see what I mean. That's right, I said stop flying. In other words, stall. As you recall from your ground school reading, wings generate lift because the air flows smoothly across the top of them. When the angle the wings are making relative to the air they are traveling through exceeds the critical angle of attack, the air can no longer flow smoothly across the top. As the wing approaches this critical angle of attack, the air begins to become turbulent. In a real airplane, we feel this turbulent air as bumpiness. Manufacturers put devices on airplanes to help us know when we are approaching the critical angle of attack. In this airplane, there's a horn that sounds. The horn sounds prior to the critical angle of attack as a warning before the stall happens. In this simulator, the word stall also appears on the screen to help us more. When the wing reaches the critical angle of attack, the wing can no longer generate lift and the nose of the airplane drops. This is the stall. When the wing is stalled, it's not flying, it's dropping. Remember, the stall is a function of angle of attack, not airspeed. Your airplane can stall at any airspeed if it exceeds the critical angle of attack. When we practice a stall, we'll purposely stall the airplane to practice the correct technique for recovering from a stall. There are only 3 things to remember about stall recovery. First, push the nose over. This points the nose down so that we can gain some airflow back over the wings. Second, get or keep the wings level. There is nothing more annoying than a sudden, unexpected spin on short final. Third, apply full power and raise the nose back up slightly so we don't lose too much altitude. The goal of a stall recovery is to get the airplane back under control and lose as little altitude as possible. Now, most stalls occur near the ground on approach. Typically, we get distracted by things outside the airplane or sometimes even inside the airplane, and we forget to...
Alright, I was just peeping my stream, I was listening to the audio, and it turns out that we have some noise. Yeah, sorry about that. Let's see if I increase this audio here, if that will help any.
The airplane. That's the problem.
I'm going to mute my mic and listen again.
It's important not to raise the nose back up too much or too fast, or we'll go into a secondary stall, which is really just a stall that happens while we're trying to recover from the first stall. I want you to slow the airplane and stall it, then recover. Reduce the throttle to flight idle and maintain 4,500 feet to enter the stall. Slowly allow the airspeed to decay by increasing the pitch. Pull back on the stick to slowly increase the airplane's pitch. The idea is to slow down but maintain altitude as a means of entering the stall. As soon as the stall warning sounds, begin the recovery by allowing the nose to come down gently and apply full power. Be careful to keep the wings level and not to allow the nose to fall too far below the horizon. You're too high. Descend.
Alright, I raised the thing, raised the system volume.
Low. Climb.
And we're still getting noise, so sorry about that. Next stream I'll fix it.
There's the stall warning, so let the nose down and apply full power. Bank the wings less. Now raise the nose above the horizon for just a second to gain a little altitude, then resume straight and level flight.
I think
Speed up.
I think Flight Sim might have added a mild aerodynamic update, because I'm getting like some serious gyro drift that I have not been getting before.
Congratulations, you did your first unassisted stall recovery. What happens if you stall with full power already applied? Let's say that you've just lifted off from an airport and are climbing with full power, as you normally do in an airplane. Suddenly, you find a big bumblebee in the cockpit. You're distracted and forget to fly the airplane as you swat the critter with both hands. Of course, All your flailing in the air means you're not paying attention to the airplane and it stalls. This is known as a departure stall. What do? Simple. Reduce the wing's angle of attack to less than its critical value. Lower the nose to an attitude less than climb attitude. Once the airplane is no longer stalled, you can recover back to climbing attitude. Now don't worry about touching the throttle since full power is already applied. Establish a climb at 75 knots with full power. Make sure you trim for this condition too.
Yeah, I don't really know how to trim, so I'm just going to leave it. Okay, our nose is coming back down, so maybe we should add some trim to maintain that nose up. Again,
now,
we're turning.
Gently raise the nose high enough to exceed the critical angle of attack. This simulates the attitude the airplane may default to when you're distracted. You'll know when the airplane stalls because the stall horn activates and the word stall appears. The airplane begins to pitch forward. Bank the wings less.
I'm not banking. I think it's the more engine torque.
Bank the wings less. Recover from the stall by lowering the nose sufficiently to decrease the angle of attack. When the airplane is no longer stalled, raise the nose and resume your climb. Be sure to avoid a secondary stall by not raising the nose too fast or raising it beyond the normal climb attitude. There you have it. Remember, pilots must recover from the departure stall by reducing the angle of attack first, then pulling back on the joystick to re-establish the climb. This means they must fight the almost instinctual response to pull the nose up to climb before they reduce the angle of attack first. You must actually go against your natural inclinations and push forward slightly or decrease the back pressure applied to the joystick to reduce the angle of attack to less than its critical value. Simultaneously adding power also helps assist in the stall recovery, unless you're already at full power. Then, and only then, will the airplane recover from a stall, at which point you can select a nose-up pitch attitude and climb. One of the key things to remember about stalls is, if you sense one coming on, an imminent stall, you do the things necessary to prevent a stall from occurring in the first place. This is just common sense. In other words, if you hear the stall horn,
common sense in the common boy,
5 to 7 knots above a stall, you immediately apply stall recovery procedures. If you understand this point, you understand the most important thing about stalls.
Bets. Okay. Yeah, so this is the noise. When I'm not talking, you still see some stuff going shh. Hilariously, if I open up OBS, I don't get noise. That's weird. I might have to get a USB mic or something. Alright, steep turns. We're going to do everything. We're going to stop at our private pilot check ride because I have not done instrument pilots and I really want to read the material before I do the lesson. So let's go to steep turns. Again, sorry about the buzzing noise. That's very unprofessional and not very YouTuber-like. And it's also a double sin for me because I specialize in video production. Like, before the world went to hell due to Corona, I was doing video production work. So this noise is definitely not
In this lesson, you'll
acceptable.
experience a turn for the better, otherwise known as a steep turn. If you're not able to maintain a bank angle within 5 degrees of the desired value, or have trouble rolling out on a heading within 5 degrees, I suggest you go back to the turn lesson and practice until you can. Remember that each lesson builds upon knowledge and skills obtained in earlier lessons. You have to crawl before you walk, and you have to walk before you ride a horse, or fly an airplane. Steep turns are typically done between 45 and 55 degrees of bank. This maneuver is great for helping you develop your flight proficiency, as well as demonstrating that airplanes have limits, and exceeding those limits always occurs at a cost. Therefore, we'll practice them to better understand these limitations. Making too steep a turn may result in a stall. That's why you practice stalls before you started this lesson. The actual
Makes
maneuver
sense.
is rather simple. Roll the airplane into a 45-degree bank and hold it at 45 degrees for either 1 or 2 complete turns around the compass. Remember, as the airplane's bank angle increases, the load factor also increases. So it's necessary to increase the power to maintain airspeed and pull back on the yoke to maintain altitude. Steep turns in this airplane are performed at 100 knots with the airplane trimmed for level flight. We do not change trim during the maneuver. Because the turn rate in a steep turn is greater than in a normal turn, rolling out on the desired heading must begin significantly earlier than normal. I'm
True.
giving you control of the airplane. I'll help you control altitude and throttle so you can focus on bank angle. I'm giving you control of the airplane. Ready?
Oh,
I want you to make a left turn now. I'll help you with altitude and throttle so you can focus on bank angle. Be cautious not to increase the bank when you apply back pressure on the joystick. Sometimes, when pulling back to maintain altitude, you might even need to apply a little aileron in the opposite direction you're turning to keep the bank from increasing. Keep scanning the instruments. Don't become fixated on any one. When your safety pilot, that's me, calls 30 degrees, start rolling the wings level. This is as difficult as rolling into the turn.
this isn't that bad. Ooh. At 6, you should be 30.
There's 30 degrees from our heading.
How is that?
That was very well done. Give me a minute to get this airplane under control.
Bless.
This time, I want you to control everything, including altitude and throttle. So be sure to add
What?
a little power to maintain the desired airspeed. If you have the auto rudder turned off, you have to keep the ball in the inclinometer centered using the rudder. Keep scanning the instruments. Don't become fixated on any one. I want you to make a left turn now.
Alright, steep turn.
I want you to make a left turn now. When your
Sorry.
safety pilot, that's me, calls 30 degrees, start rolling the wings level. This is as difficult as
Ooh.
rolling into the
Ooh,
turn.
we're plummeting.
Bank the wings less. You must reduce power, reduce back pressure, and maintain altitude, airspeed, and find the right heading all at once.
Good grief, this is tough. I'm not even at the full 45.
There's 30 degrees from our heading.
Ooh, look at our vertical speed, man. We were plummeting. Yeah, we need to do that again. No joke. We need
That
to.
wasn't bad, but I think you can do better. I recommend that you try that again before you move on.
Yeah, sure,
To
absolutely.
try
Let's
that
do that again.
press the control and left bracket keys. Otherwise, we'll end this lesson in 20 seconds.
Control. Whoops. Nope. Ah, bastard. See? Alright, let's do that again. Like once we had to control our the pitch ourselves, we were plummeting. And if I if I give too much back pressure, the turn would have tightened up too. See, I don't know why we keep turning, man. Oh, set throttle. So 0.
In this lesson,
full.
you'll experience a turn for the better, otherwise known as a steep turn. If you're not able to maintain a bank angle within 5 degrees of the desired value, or have trouble rolling out on a heading within 5 degrees, I suggest you go back to the turn lesson and practice until you can. Remember that each lesson builds upon knowledge and skills obtained in earlier lessons. You have to crawl before you walk, and you have to walk before you ride a horse or fly an airplane. Steep turns are typically done between 45 and 55 degrees of bank. This maneuver is great for helping you develop your flight proficiency, as well as demonstrating that airplanes have limits, and exceeding those limits always occurs at a cost. Therefore, we'll practice them to better understand these limitations. Making too steep a turn may result in a stall. That's why you practice stalls before you started this lesson. The actual maneuver is rather simple. Roll the airplane into a 45-degree bank and hold it at 45 degrees for either 1 or 2 complete turns around the compass. Remember, as the airplane's bank angle increases, the load factor also increases. So it's necessary to increase the power to maintain airspeed and pull back on the yoke to maintain altitude.
Pull back on the stick, yes.
Steep turns in this airplane are performed at 100 knots with the airplane trimmed for level flight. We do not change trim during the maneuver. Because the turn rate in a steep turn is greater than in a normal turn, rolling out on the desired heading must begin significantly earlier than normal. I'm giving you control of the airplane. I'll help you control altitude and throttle so you can focus on bank
Okay, so I have a feeling something's up with my joystick, because as soon as I have control, we start to bank.
Make a left turn now. I'll
You're
help
banking
you with
to the
altitude
left.
and throttle so you can focus on bank angle. Be cautious not to increase the bank when you apply back pressure on the joystick. Sometimes, when pulling back to maintain altitude, you might even need to apply a little aileron in the opposite direction you're turning to keep the bank from increasing. Keep scanning the instruments. Don't become fixated on any one. When your safety pilot, that's me, calls 30 degrees, start rolling the wings level. This is as difficult as rolling into the turn. Bank the wings less. Bank the wings more.
Alright, yeah, we goofed that up. We definitely goofed that up. Isn't this over here the 45?
Bank the wings less. There's 30 degrees from our heading.
Yeah, we goofed that up, man. We goofed.
That wasn't bad, but I think you can do better. I recommend that you try that again before you move on. Give
No
me a
doubt
minute
about
to get
it.
this airplane under control.
No doubt about it. The first time we did it, it wasn't bad. The second time on our first flight was bad. And now the first time on this second flight, it's bad. I don't know. I'm sure this was the 45. And it doesn't tell you. Do I have a backup gauge? No? Okay.
This time, I want you to control everything, including altitude and throttle. So be
I
sure
was-
to add a little power to maintain the desired airspeed. If
I was
you have the
controlling
auto rudder
everything
turned
the
on,
first time,
you
dude.
have to keep the ball in the inclinometer centered using the rudder. Keep scanning the instruments. Don't become fixated on any one. I want you to make a left turn now.
Alright, so as I do the left turn, start pulling back on the stick.
When your safety pilot, that's me, calls 30 degrees,
Pull back.
start rolling the wings level. This is as difficult as rolling into the turn.
Pull back.
Bank the wings less.
Less.
You must reduce power, reduce back pressure, and maintain altitude, airspeed, and find the right heading all at once. Speed up. There's 30 degrees from our heading.
Alright, I have to read this again, man. I thought they said these things up here was...
That wasn't bad.
I think we have to measure against these at the bottom here.
Before you move on. To try that again, press the control and left bracket keys. Otherwise, we'll end this lesson in 20 seconds.
But you said control and semicolon, so control semicolon. Oh, okay. It's left semicolon. I was using the right. It's the left. Yeah, I definitely have to check out what's up with this joystick. 0 full.
In this lesson, you'll experience a turn for the better, otherwise known as a steep turn. If you're not able to maintain a bank angle within 5 degrees of the desired value, or have trouble rolling out on a heading within 5 degrees, I suggest you go back to the turn lesson and practice until you can. Remember that each lesson builds upon knowledge and skills obtained in earlier lessons. You have to crawl before you walk, and you have to walk before you ride a horse, or fly an airplane. Steep turns are typically done between 45 and 55 degrees of bank. This maneuver is great for helping you develop your flight proficiency, as well as demonstrating that airplanes have limits, and exceeding those limits always occurs at a cost. Therefore, we'll practice them to better understand these limitations. Making too steep a turn may result in a stall. That's why you practice stalls before you started this lesson. The actual maneuver is rather simple. Roll the airplane into a 45-degree bank.
Alright, I'm gonna mute my mic to reduce the noise. So let's mute this mic.
Remember, as the airplane's bank angle increases, the load factor also increases. So it's necessary to increase the power to maintain airspeed and pull back on the yoke to maintain altitude. Steep turns in this airplane are performed at 100 knots with the airplane trimmed for level flight. We do not change trim during the maneuver. Because the turn rate in a steep turn is greater than in a normal turn, rolling out on the desired heading must begin significantly earlier than normal. I'm giving you control of the airplane. I'll help you control altitude and throttle so you can focus on bank angle. I'm giving you control of the airplane. Ready? I want you to make a left turn now. I'll help you with altitude and throttle so you...
Okay, so it probably is not the sim, it's just how the engine sounds on when it's idling. So, well, that's how the Cessna's engine sounds. It sounds like noise coming through my phone, so hopefully you guys can understand that, and I'll also check it out, because when I shut up, we're still getting input here, so I'm gonna figure it out sooner or later. Thanks for your understanding, everybody. Alright, so I'm gonna do the turn according to this. Yeah, I'm gonna hold it there. I don't know what this is. This is probably 60 degrees. Wow, yeah, we screwed that up big time. Giving it full. That was bad. See, look how long it's taking us to descend to. Alright, let's try that again. Let's try with this marker on top. Pull back some more. Notice the lighting on the cockpit panel changes. It's because the position of the sun relative to us is changing. It'll look a lot better in FS 2020. But in FS 2020 they make it sound as if FSX is that bad. It's not that bad. It's bad, but it's not that bad. And I hope FS 2020 includes stuff like this too. Because so far what I see, FS 2020 looks like an arcade VFR simulator. Looks like something you might play in the mall. So you get a full cockpit setup and you play with it in the mall. A realistic simulator, realistic arcade game, realistic arcade VFR simulator. Yeah, that's what FS 2020 looks like. Okay, maybe let's increase. Yeah, we already screwed up big time. Let's see what this. Ooh, this looks terrible. Alright, let's roll out. Call this lesson a day. Look at that, and we're gonna stall. We're gonna stall. We're gonna stall, don't stall. Don't stall. Yeah, let's call this a day. Move on to something else. Steep turn solo flight. Do I want to? I don't want to. $140. Why do we keep starting out here, man? Right. We are rolling to the left. Degrees. Beautiful, I think. Was that good? Let's check. Yep. I'd rate that. Alright, let's call it a day. Well, not a day as yet. We're gonna do Vor Navigation. This is something I should definitely read, but for the funsies, let's just jump straight into it. For funsies, for the sake of the live stream, we're gonna jump into it, but I definitely need to read this on my own. I should probably make a note of it somewhere. Nah, I like to live life on the edge. Alright, I just unmuted my mic, just listening to my stream a little bit. A bit noisy, but not bad.
In this lesson, we're going to learn how to use the navigational aid called VOR. VOR
That's it
is
over
short
here.
for Very High Frequency Omnidirectional Radio Range, which is a mouthful. As you learned in ground school, VORs are radio aids to navigation. To use the VOR, you tune the frequency for the VOR you want to use in the VHF nav radio and listen to the Morse code identifier. Once you have verified you have the correct station tuned, the VOR indicator will tell you where the airplane is relative to the VOR station.
It also tells you your speed too.
VOR today. It's located in Everett, Washington. That's where they build the 747s, you know. I've already tuned the radio and identified the VOR station for you. You can learn how to do that in the ground school material. We're about 6 miles south of the Payne VOR station. How do I know I'm 6 miles away? Because the Payne VOR also has DME.
Yes, it's
DME
here.
stands for Distance Measuring Equipment. The name kind of says it all, doesn't it? How it works is best described as magic, and what it does is even better. It will tell us our distance from the VOR, our ground speed, and how long it will take us to get there. The DME indicator is on the upper right-hand corner of the instrument panel. It's the panel with 3 red numbers and a switch marked N1 and N2. The switch allows us to measure our distance from either nav radio 1 or nav radio 2. The first number is the distance to the station. The second is our ground speed relative to the station. And the third is the time it would take us to get there.
Yeah, we don't have that.
That's the VOR indicator. We want to continue northbound on the 360 degree course inbound to the station. So I'll set VOR number 1 to 360. As we pass over the station, we'll continue north for 3 DME and then head west a bit. Then we'll turn south to intercept the 090 degree course to the Payne VOR. This will head us back eastbound to the VOR station. On the VOR1 indicator, notice 360 is set at the top center and the to from indicator points up. This indicates the direction to the VOR station. I'm giving you control of the airplane. Ready? Maintain an altitude of 4,000 feet. Where necessary, make small corrections to keep the vertical needle centered in the VOR1 indicator to stay on course. Turn left more.
No, not left. Huh? If I'm too far left, I need to turn right to correct it, don't I? Alright. Oh, it's centered. Oops. Alright, I'm gonna turn. No, I'm too far right.
Towards the needle to get it to center. The needle gets more sensitive as we get closer to the station, so make small corrections.
Alright, I'm gonna just turn it directly north.
Turn left more.
Right. Go. Program review. Satellite radio. Y'all getting hit.
After we cross the VOR,
boom.
continue outbound on the 360 degree course from the station.
Yeah, this does not make sense to me, and that is perfectly fine because I did not read the ground school material. I don't think I can properly proceed after this to do the private pilot checkout if I don't know how to do the VOR thing properly. I think I'm going to do it anyway just for the lulz, so that Twitch and YouTube can see that I've done it, and then I'll go back and read the material on my own time. Go away. Okay, we're flying away from the whatever. No? Yeah, this does not make any sense to me. So we're gonna do the traffic pattern. I think we can skip. Let's see what the traffic pattern is. Okay. Downwind. Final approach. Ha! This is totally me. Turn too far, then you have to turn right. Turn left, then turn back right. Ha! Yep, this is also me. Ah. Let's see how we do. Oh, we have to set throttle to idle. Oops, sorry, just bumped my mic.
In this lesson, you're going to learn how to fly in the vicinity of an airport. There's a method to the madness of approaching an airport. It's called the traffic pattern, and it helps keep airplanes from running into one another. It has 5 major segments or legs: departure, crosswind, downwind, base, and final. Remember way back in student lesson 2 when we talked about how important it is to maintain your heading and bank control? This is where it pays off. There's a lot to do in a very short time in a traffic pattern, which is why studying the ground school was so important. Let's get flying so you can see what I mean. We're on runway 19er at Bremerton National Airport.
Bremerton.
The traffic pattern altitude here is 1,500 feet. Your mission is to take off, climb to 1,500 feet, fly a complete traffic pattern, and then return to land back on the same runway. Okay, you've got the airplane. Slowly add power with the throttle and release the brakes. When the airspeed gets to about 55 knots, ease back on the stick to raise the nose a little and fly off the runway. Release the parking brake. Push the throttle in more.
That's our gyro drift, so we're holding right rudder to correct. A wee bit of right rudder. 55 knots.
Pull back on the stick.
Rotating.
Okay, we're on the departure leg.
I'm gonna adjust 80 knots for the climb. I don't want to use trim because trim sucks. $800 feet. $900 feet.
When we reach 1,100 feet, I want you to make a 90-degree left turn to the east, which is a heading of 100 degrees.
Okay, 1,000.
When we reach
100.
1,500 feet, level off and accelerate to about 100 knots.
I'm going to do it with 20 degrees of bank. So here we go. Alright, let's begin our
Turn left
rollout.
more. Okay, good job. Now we're on the crosswind leg. We'll fly this for about 30 seconds, then turn left onto the downwind leg. Speed up. When we've reached 100 knots, pull the throttle back to about 2,400 RPM.
Alright, we're at our target altitude and we're still climbing, so let's push the nose down. Now this leg, this is where we need our trim.
Start a left turn to 010 degrees for the downwind leg now. This will take us parallel to the runway about half a mile east. You're too high. Descend.
It's not my fault, dude. It's the trim. Trim's all jacked up, man. Alright, roll out. commandees.
You're too high. Descend.
Alright, let's see what our trim is at. This is ridiculous. 3.4. That should be 1.8. Alright. Full power. Oops.
This is the downwind leg. We'll fly it until we're just past the far end of the runway. In fact, about 45 degrees from it. You're too high. Descend. Slow down. If you look out your left window, you'll see that we're about even with the end of the runway.
Do you really have to trim the plane down? That's weird. Maintain speed and heading until the runway is about 45 degrees behind us. So that's about our 8 o'clock, roughly. See, this is why I don't like to trim, you know. 0.9. We're turning for some strange reason.
You're too low. Climb. If you look out the left window, you can see that we're about 45 degrees out from the end of the runway. Turn left to start the base leg. Roll out from your turn on a heading of 280 degrees. You're too low. Climb.
Alright, again we're doing that 20 degrees of bank. Just 20 degrees of bank really makes life a lot easy. A lot easier. It's very easy to roll out on heading.
Fly this heading until we're almost even with runway 19er again. Reduce power to 1500 RPM and add 10 degrees of flaps. Start a descent of about 500 feet per minute. Turn left to line up with runway 19er.
Where's the runway? Oops, I can't see it. So I'm just gonna do 20 degrees of bank again. Maintaining 1500. Oh, okay, yep. Then we're just gonna do some S turns to correct.
Reduce the power again and let's slow down some more in level flight. When the airspeed reaches 75 knots, add another 10 degrees of flaps.
Alright, I can't tell what that is. Airspeed indicator. Brilliant.
This is the final approach leg. Go ahead and set up for a regular landing. Lower your flaps. You're too high. Reduce power. Don't forget to set the flaps at 30 degrees and remain on the glide slope.
Well, power is reduced all the way. Alright, there's the puppy. Oops. 500 degrees, 500 feet per minute. So we're below the glide slope now. Oops, yeah, we're like super low. But that's fine. We have the runway in sight and we can just correct.
We're almost there. Reduce power to idle, keep the wings level, and hold the nose just a bit above the horizon until touchdown.
Alright.
Pull the throttle back
Flight idle.
Nice job. Check that the power is at idle and press the period key to activate the Briggs. Come to a complete stop on the runway.
Let's look at our wing. Complete stop.
That's the traffic pattern.
Good
Fun, isn't it?
job.
A lot goes on in a short period of time. If you were to retract the flaps right after touchdown, set full power and take off again, this would be called a touch and go.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Ah, look at this traffic pad. Cool. Ooh, why did we climb? We climbed by mistake. This is probably during the turn. Let's run that back. Yeah, this was in our base to final. We climbed just a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, This flight analysis is a very good tool for debriefing. Let's zoom in some. And yeah, see when we were turning, went up a little bit. Okay, cool. Let's go to lessons. Let's read the traffic pattern by ourselves. If you have done any of the missions before you did the lessons, you can progress fairly quickly. But the lessons is a good way to decipher the method to the madness. Alright. Oops. Oh, we were supposed to take off at about 55 knots. My bad. Establish 80 knots for the climb. You know what? I'm not gonna do that. So we've been live for 2 hours and 22 minutes. I decided to quit that because we weren't gonna be told our headings. We just have to do it ourselves. ATC.
If you're comfortable with flying the airplane, we can spice things up a bit. The air traffic control system will add a lot of realism to your flights. We're sitting in the ramp at Renton Field near Seattle, Washington. In this lesson, we'll taxi, take off, and land at another airport while communicating with air traffic control. Now, you've done your homework, right?
Yep.
Press the accent key or the scroll lock key to display the air traffic control window. The air traffic control window appears with a menu of messages. Press accent or scroll lock again and the air traffic control window hides. You can display or hide the window anytime you want. It will automatically appear when messages are sent to you from air traffic control. You know how to display the air traffic control window, so if it's hidden, display it. Note that the first line in the ATC window reads, "Choose an option for Renton ground." Below that, you have two choices in the menu, but I don't want you to choose either of these just yet. A great tool in Flight Simulator that will help you manage the radios is the Auto-Tune feature. Flight Simulator automatically tunes the radios for you. You can also tune the radios manually if you want to, but anytime you select items from the ATC menu that would require a frequency change, the radio will automatically be tuned to the next frequency for you. You can choose menu items by pressing the corresponding number on the top row of the computer keyboard. Today's flight will be made under VFR or Visual Flight Rules, and to get the local weather, we'll listen to the ATIS, otherwise known as Automatic Terminal Information Service at Renton Municipal Airport. In a moment, I want you to tune and listen to the ATIS. By selecting ATIS from the menu, the frequency will be tuned automatically, and that's why the feature is called Auto-Tune. The broadcast repeats over and over, so feel free to listen to it until the message makes sense. When you are finished listening to the ATIS, press 1. Go ahead and press 2 on the top row of the keyboard to select Tune Renton ATIS on 126.95. Okay, now that you've tuned the ground frequency, notice that you have new options in the menu. When you select an option, you'll hear the pilot request, that's you, and then the ground controller's response. The flight to Payne takes us north, so press the 4 key.
Renton ground, Cessna, November 760 Papa Lima with Bravo. Request taxi to the active. Departure to the north. Cessna, November 760 Papa Lima. Taxi to and hold short of runway 15 via taxiway Alpha. Contact tower on 124.7 when ready. Taxi to and hold short runway 15 via taxiway Alpha. Cessna 0 Papa Lima.
Control right bracket.
Did you notice the pilot text was orange and the controller text was green? When the controller talks to you, he or she is usually expecting a response. We've got the OK, so let's taxi to the north end of runway 15. It's to the left.
Okay.
When you get to the runway, stop just short of the runway and select Request Takeoff VFR.
Taxiing is my least favorite thing to do in FSX. Least favorite. Runway 15. I hate taxiing because I hate to admit it, but I'm the guy who does the accelerated taxis in Steam Edition in multiplayer. Only because it's so boring. Just get me into the air as quickly as possible. Alright, I think this is the end of the runway. Oh no. Not sure if I should turn I'm gonna go to the absolute end of the runway. Tap the brakes.
Renton Tower, Cessna, November 760 Papa Lima at runway 15. Ready for takeoff. North departure. Cessna, November 760 Papa Lima cleared for takeoff. Runway 15 north departure. Approved. Cleared for takeoff. Runway 15. Cessna 0 Papa Lima.
Alright, that was weird. I pressed the control semicolon to let the sim know that hey, we lined up. We restarted, what the hell, man?
If you're comfortable with flying the airplane, we can spice things up a bit. The air traffic control system will add a lot of realism to your flights. We're sitting on the ramp at Renton Field near Seattle, Washington. In this lesson, we'll taxi, take off, and land at another airport while communicating with air traffic control. Now you've done your homework, right? Press the accent key or the scroll lock key to...
I'm sad now that they made us restart the mission. Let's do private pilot check ride. After this, we're gonna call it quits. We're gonna stop streaming because I really want to go back and read that VOR material.
You're ready for the big step, the check ride.
Who are you?
Complete all the maneuvers satisfactorily and you'll receive your certificate. We're on runway 19 at Bremerton National Airport. I want you to do a normal takeoff, then climb on runway heading to 2,000 feet. Next, you'll do a steep turn, then fly to the Tacoma Narrows Airport. You'll enter the pattern on the downwind leg, turn base, turn final, and land at Tacoma Narrows. I won't do any of the flying for you, it's all up to you. But Rod wouldn't have sent you for your check ride if he didn't think you were ready. Ready? Let's go! Take off and climb to 2,000 feet.
I'm guessing I have to use this, right? Nah. Tower don't need to know where we're going. Tower needs to mind their own damn business, that's what they need to do. Alright, 55 knots. Rotate. Alright, we're climbing to 2,000. Our climb speed is going to be 80 knots. Turn left to 190. Alright, wait. Does that... I'm going to bring this up because I don't know if our heading bug moved or not. We're at 184 degrees. Right now we're at 190. Yeah man, learning these increments for the bank angles was really big help for me. I can basically fly on heading now. I'm at 190. Alright, we're at 1,400. Yeah. Yeah. Maintaining about roughly 80 knots for the climb. 1,600. 1,700. I'm really not looking forward to this what you call it, this steep turn. 1,800. We'll start leveling off. 1,900. As we level up, we're going to increase speed too. Our trim is all out of whack again. 5 degrees up trim.
I'm sorry, but we're going to have to fly this check ride again. Please review the lessons in the
What?
ground school material, and then try again.
Excuse me? We did not bank. We did not bank at all. That's some bullshit. Let's do that check ride again. That was some bullshit. Joystick is at idle.
You're ready for the big step, the check ride. Complete all the maneuvers satisfactorily and you'll receive your certificate. We're on runway 19 at Bremerton National Airport. I want you to do a normal takeoff, then climb on runway heading to 2,000 feet. Next, you'll do a steep turn, then fly to the Tacoma Narrows Airport. You'll enter the pattern on the downwind leg, turn base, turn final, and land at Tacoma Narrows. I won't do any of the flying for you, it's all up to you. But Rod wouldn't have sent you for your check ride if he didn't think you were ready. Ready? Let's go! Take off and climb to 2,000 feet.
Let's see if I can open up the messages to see. Nope. Alright, I'm gonna pause this. KTIW. Okay. Let's go back to nearest. Where is it though? Ah. So they're not going to give me any they're not going to tell me how to get there? That's interesting. Let's see if I can. Nope, I can't open up Flight Planner. Weird. Can't open up the map either. And I don't even know where to... Alright, this is gonna be really interesting. So I basically have to fly to this airport and I don't even know where it is. Since I'm doing my check right, it probably would not tell me where it is either. Alright, we have 8 knots in our climb, full power. We're exceeding our 80 knots, so let's continue. I'm gonna pitch up some more. I'm guessing we have to use this VOR thing to get to Bremerton. I don't know. $1,400. Now. Actually, I doubt it. Well, I don't know. We're actually flying away from wherever we need to go. But they say do this steep turn, but they don't say to what heading. Or in what direction. Let me pause this again. Steep turn, pattern entry. Control and right bracket for the instructor to repeat. Okay. Right. 900. Let's start putting the nose down. Oh, and definitely trim for level flight. Ay ay ay.
Good job. Make a left turn to heading 090.
Oh, okay. Brilliant. This is our steep turn, I suppose. Whoops. 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 Okay, yeah, that was not good. That was not our steep turn. My bad.
I'm sorry, but we're going to have to fly this check ride again.
What?
Please review the lessons in the ground school material, and then try again.
Okay, fine. Let's do the check ride. Oh, okay. So the instructor will give us instructions as per the job of an instructor. So that's what we'll do. We'll sit, we'll wait for instructions.
You're ready for the big step, the check ride. Complete all the maneuvers satisfactorily and you'll receive your certificate. We're on runway 19 at Bremerton National Airport. I want you to do a normal takeoff, then climb on runway heading to 2,000 feet. Next, you'll do a steep turn, then fly to the Tacoma Narrows Airport. You'll enter the pattern on the downwind leg, turn base, turn final, and land at Tacoma Narrows. I won't do any of the flying for you, it's all up to you. But Rod wouldn't have sent you for your check ride if he didn't think you were ready. Ready? Let's go.
Yep, alright, let's
Take
do
off
this.
and climb to 2,000 feet.
So our 90-degree turn, we will do that at 20 degrees, 30-degree bank angle. I don't even know, man. Whoops, I accidentally tapped the brakes on rotation before we got into the air, which is bad. Alright, I'm going to look for that 80 knots. 80 knots. Alright, we're going past that 80 knots. I'm going to increase our pitch to maintain that 80 knots beautifully. Increase that pitch. We still have our full power going. Looking at that heading, looking at my attitude indicator to make sure we're not turning, because apparently that's what happens now. Yep, we were turning to the right a little bit, correct to the left. Tap the brakes out by mistake. 1,000 feet, 1,000 to go, 1,100. Alright, let's turn left a little bit. Oops. Still maintaining that 80 knots, beautiful. 1,400 feet. Let's get it in. 1,500 feet. Straight and level. Come on, come on, come on. Straight and level, straight and level. Still maintaining that 80 knots. One 800. Alright, let's start putting the nose down and decreasing our trim. What's our trim? 1.4. Okay, that's fine. Oops, we're supposed to be climbing. Alright, so I'm just going to be slowly tapping.
Good job. Make a left turn to heading 090.
Using how many degrees of bank? I'm going to use 20. Beautiful. How was that? As we would yell annoyingly in cricket.
Good job.
Good job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I didn't... as Revenant
Okay,
would say.
it's time for the steep turn.
I didn't do it for
Check
you.
for other airplanes by pressing the 4 and 6 keys on your numeric keypad.
Alright.
Make a 360-degree steep turn to the left.
360 degree. Pull back on the stick. Alright, that's our steep turn. Climb. Yes. Whoops. $30 degrees. Roll out. Let's also continue our climb. 4 for 4. Climb. I guess I probably should have kept that. What you call it? The up trim.
I'm sorry, but we're going to have to fly this check ride again. Please review
Fight
the
me.
lessons in the ground school material, and then try again.
Alright. Alright, well, we all know that I'm totally 100% capable of doing this all by myself, so we don't really need your opinion. Keep telling me that I was doing it wrong. Okay, so this is the airport we're supposed to land at. Anyway, we'll do that check ride another day. Alright, we're gonna call it quits now. Sorry you feel. Blah. Story of my life. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We have been doing practice in the lessons. We did our straight and level flights, our turns, our climbs and descents, slow flights, takeoffs, landings, and we did our first solo. We got a certificate for that, and then we went on to private pilot training. We did our taxiing, our stalls, our steep turns, our VOR navigations, the traffic pattern, and the air traffic control. But then our check ride person was busting our balls with the with regards to the private pilot check ride. So we'll do that again some other time. But yeah, follow me on all the social media, FSX Stouts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Mixer, and recently Twitch. I'm not too sure how the Twitch thing will pan out, but yeah, I'm on Twitch. Yeah, so follow me on all the stuff. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Mixer, Twitch. I did not put Twitch in my thing as yet because I had to open up Photoshop again and redo my thing, but I forgot. So yeah, next stream you'll see the Twitch thing. So anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye. Oh, see you on the go around. Yes, that's my new catchphrase. See you on the go around.